They stuck a chick in it and made it lame and gay. That is how Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is going to attempt to lure players back to the game in order to try and make as much money as they possibly can for this abysmal failure of a product. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com, and they have revealed that their Mrs. Freeze character is a lesbian. That's right, Rocksteady has revealed that Mrs. Freeze is a lesbian named Victoria Frias. So they shared this in a blog post, and it says this: Victoria Frias is an ice-cold, self-sufficient survivalist who has watched her Elseworld turn to ice as Brainiac's invasion took hold. Interestingly, they'll actually contradict this and reveal that she's the one who turned it to ice. She didn't watch it turn to ice. Nevertheless, they go on and say this: by the time we meet her in season 2, she has spent years as the last holdout of her dying planet, unwilling to leave her cryogenically frozen wife behind. But after being recruited by the squad, she may have the chance to save her and unleash icy hell. First off, lesbians cannot get married. Marriage is between a man and a woman. So they're falsely using that language. We must reject this stuff, say no to it. It is indeed part of woke ideology to make people believe that the same people of the same sex can get married, and they just simply cannot. Marriage is between a man and a woman. Doesn't matter what the government or the state says. They don't dictate what God has created. They cannot, because they are not God. But nevertheless, they go on and say this: Mrs. Freeze is bringing some much-needed expertise to the squad in the form of her freeze tech. The primary way she utilizes her inventions is through her traversal, which incorporates a combination of ice-cool control and super smooth sliding that makes for a fast-paced, dynamic, and totally unique traversal kit. So they're literally turning her into Frozone from the Incredibles instead of an actual, like, Mr. Freeze type character with, like, the ice suit and the ice pack. She's literally cruising around like Frozone from the Incredibles. They go on to, like, talk about her abilities and all these things like that. If you want to read that, you can. I'm just going to skip over that right here. But this is where they talk about how she actually is the one who froze the world rather than watching it happen. Like, she's passively watching it happen, like they said in the beginning. But it says, the world you'll discover is the result of a final act of sabotage by Mrs. Freeze, right? She's the one who's actually done it. She's the one who's frozen her world. It's not like she watched it turn into ice. Once she realized the fight against Brainiac on her homeworld was unwinnable, she hatched a plan to destroy the Kulin terraformers, sending the entire planet into an ice age. These Arctic conditions have frozen Metropolis solid, leading to a radically different landscape, both in terms of appearance and physical layout. The new ice age has wrought such mayhem on the planet that pools of lava have burst forth from the ground, adding additional hazards. So it's a frozen planet that has a bunch of lava spewing out from it. Tell me, make it make sense, please. Make it make sense. The ruins of this epic battle between Mrs. Freeze, now they're calling her Miss Freeze, so they can't even get that right, and Brainiac. Maybe that's just a typo. Who knows? I do typos too. I get it. But that's like a pretty significant typo there. You want to, is it Miss Freeze or Mrs. Freeze? And Brainiac can be seen littered through this world. It shouldn't be Mrs. Freeze. They actually got this one right, now that I think about it, because Mrs. is the title for someone who is married. And as we just talked about, people of the same sex cannot get married. So Miss Freeze is actually the appropriate one here. So kudos to that. They got it wrong originally. Can be seen littered through this world with machines of war strewn over the city and several landmarks transformed by the aftermath of the conflict. Explore this Elseworld to find a transformed Zeppo Tower and its once great Zeppelins now stranded in the snow. And at the center of it all, the giant terraformer causing lava to spew forth from where it is burrowed into the earth. So there's a picture of what you can potentially get. This is not going to save this game. More than likely, you're just going to see more and more people abandon it because they're not interested in having characters that are gay and lame being put into their already gay and lame game. I hope most people have already abandoned this game. If we look at the stats here, it looks like they have. Peak concurrent was back in the beginning of February when it launched. according to SteamDB, 13,459 players by the end of February. So in the first month that this game was released, it was already below 600 peak concurrent by the end of February. That is how quickly this game lost its player base. And if we look at the most recent 24-hour peak, it has only hit 314, abysmally low. I doubt that this season 2 rollout will even bring that concurrent peak over 1,000. I would be shocked if it does that. I think the Joker one did over 3,000. That's that peak you see there at the end of March, where they released the first season with the gay Joker. So this game absolutely doing terribly, and this character is just going to add on to it. And Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company of Rocksteady, has confirmed how terribly it is done. They've taken a $200 million impairment charge on the game, basically a giant, massive tax write-off. The company's chief financial officer, Gunnar Wiedenfeld, said this: starting with studios, the $400 million plus year-over-year decline during Q1 was primarily due to the very tough comp we faced in games against the success of Hogwarts Legacy last year in the first quarter, in conjunction with the disappointing Suicide Squad release this past quarter, which we impaired, leading to a $200 million impact to EBITDA during the first quarter. So bad news there for the game. Then we had a report here from Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg indicating that they were going to no longer be providing the significant support that they initially intended to due to this financial failure and the fact that there's no one actually playing this game. He said that they are going to be providing some bare bones support, definitely not as much as they'd originally planned. And that seemed to be confirmed as they had to delay the release of Season 2. It was originally supposed to go live on July 11th, but has been delayed to July 25th. You can see that in this post here from the official Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League account on X. It says Task Force X will be adjusting the release time for the next timing for the next season. Suicide Squad game Season 2 will now launch on July 25. Thank you for your patience. And then kind of to elucidate just how poorly this game has performed, Rocksteady and Warner Brothers actually cut a deal with Prime Gaming to give the game away for free. We got a blog post from Prime Gaming's PR manager, Chris Leggett. He said this: as we approach Prime Day 2024, we're excited to offer members 3 extra games to claim, including Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Chivalry 2, and Rise of the Tomb Raider at no additional cost. The games will be available to claim beginning on July 16th at 3 a.m. Eastern Time and will be available for 48 hours. I think they're still available if you want to get this game for free. I don't even know who's going to be getting it for free. It is so abysmally bad. And one of the main reasons it is so abysmally bad is right there on your screen. Sweet Baby Inc. heavily involved in this, including the CEO, Kim Belair. And players noticed that, realized that they were part of this game, and said absolutely not, and boycotted the game. And that boycott has grown to over 400,000 players on Cabrutus Rambo's Steam curator list titled Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. I think it's the second largest curator list on Steam. And it also lists all the games that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on that are available on Steam. But Cabrutus has also begun adding other games to the list as well that have DEI influences from other consultancy groups or just from their studios have been adopting this woke ideology, DEI positions, etc., and have become a massive force in the video game industry. I think leading to a lot of failures, video game failures, because they chose to push the woke ideology in their games. Gamers have had enough and are not purchasing those products. They are indeed boycotting them. So Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, obviously the biggest example of that. And they continue to double down on this woke garbage with Mrs. Freeze. And I think it's just ruining the DC brand, ruining the DC Comics brand, ruining Rocksteady's reputation, and I think significantly harming Warner Brothers Discovery as well. They would be better off just to pull the plug, say no, and say, hey, we made a huge mistake. We're getting out of the DI stuff. They need to follow the Tractor Supply model. Get out of that stuff. Get rid of it. And maybe you'll get some customers to come back once you actually prove that your fruit is no longer poison. It's actually fresh, juicy fruit that we want to eat. pluck it from the tree and enjoy. But at this point, that's not where they're at. They're literally trying to give you a poisoned apple like the evil queen from Snow White. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.